Thank you, Helen. Good morning and welcome along to BBC Radio Solent.
Katie Martin. The sound of the South.
And all the music you love. BBC Radio Solent.
Today is Halloween, and while for many it's a time of trick-or-treating and fancy dress, October the 31st is also known as All Hallows Eve, which marks the day before All Hallows or All Saints' Day. In our Sunday service, Baptist minister and crime writer Reverend Peter Laws explores the themes of light and dark as the days start drawing in.
And welcome to the Sunday service on BBC Local Radio. My name is Peter Laws. I'm a Baptist minister, but I'm also a crime fiction author. My stories often touch on the darker, more mysterious side of life. Some people find that a very odd combination, to preach sermons about light while also writing stories involving darkness. Yet ironically, Gothic tales were what drew me to God in the first place. I never went to church growing up and I had no interest in it. Yet I'd sometimes see films where vampires were scared of a crucifix, or I'd read haunted house stories where the only place to find help was the church. These stories, among other things, set me on a path to become a Christian, and after that to get ordained. These days I help people discover the spiritual aspects of spooky things in my podcast, Creepy Cove Community Church, which offers full church services broadcast from a mysterious fishing town, where all the characters are from well-known creepy movies. It's been described as Songs of Praise meets Stephen King. We found a community of Christians and non-churchgoers who appreciate this space to reflect, explore and worship in a way they might not be able to in a more traditional church, especially during the pandemic. Which is why I'm leading the Sunday service this week. You see, today is Halloween, and for some in the church it feels like the most un-Christian time of the year. Yet this morning we'll discover how Halloween fits into the Christian traditions of All Saints and All Souls. We'll learn how church is indeed a place of positivity and hope. But for that to make sense, it's important to acknowledge the shade and the shadows of life, particularly as we remember those we have lost. At this time of year, some Christian traditions celebrate All Saints' Day on November the 1st and All Souls' Day on the 2nd. It provides a focus for remembrance, firstly for the well-known saints of the church with their inspirational lives of faith and hope, but also the saints with a small s, within our families, our friendship groups, our local communities, the heroes of faith from our own lives who are no longer with us. Pope John Paul II said, "This time of the year invites us to turn our gaze to the immense multitude of those who have already reached the blessed land, and points us on the path that will lead us to that destination." All Saints is sometimes known as All Hallows, and the day before it, All Hallows Eve, known to most of us as Halloween, which has its roots in a festival called Samhain, where the ancient Celts celebrated the harvest, but at the same time they also honoured the dead. Why did the Celts and later the Christians see this as a good time of year for such reflection? Well, just look out of your window. As autumn moves into winter, the nights grow dark, the trees lose their leaves and turn skeletal. Nature, which seemed so filled with life only a few months ago, seems to have shriveled and died. No wonder our ancestors saw this as a good time to reflect on those we have lost, be they a famous saint or a treasured loved one. And these last 2 years of COVID-19 has brought so much sadness and loss. We shouldn't rush through that pain. Instead, we do as the Bible does, as Jesus does. We acknowledge the colder, darker seasons of life that seem filled with mystery and loss and unanswered questions. And yet the seasons also come with a baked-in promise. They move in cycles. The tree in our street appears to be dead, but it will revive again in the miracle of spring. Jesus tells us that this sort of renewal is not just for plants and trees. It's for all creation, even you and even me. Yes, we feel the pain of loss, just as Lazarus' sisters did, just as Jesus did, who wept at the news of his death. Yet the weeping turns to celebration and towards the promise of resurrection and a reuniting in the summer meadows of heaven. And what of today, Halloween? Some Christians call it a night of evil that celebrates death. But what might you see on the streets tonight? Children, perhaps, dressed as monsters, ghosts, or skeletons. Those morbid symbols should be scary, and yet you'll find a common sound on Halloween night: laughter. Halloween becomes a party where a child can wear a skeleton mask and literally laugh in the face of death. It's a vivid image of Paul's words: "Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting?" For the next 3 days, it's right to remember that everybody's life, saint or not, goes through seasons of happy light and mysterious darkness. Yet God goes with us through all of our seasons, lighting our way with a hope that even the darkest of shadows cannot put out. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "In the midst of darkness, light persists." The Apostle John put it this way: "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." In a moment, we'll pray. But first, let's sing together a song that reminds us that even in the bleaker seasons, we are not alone. Let's sing Light of the World.
Light of the world, you came down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, also highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Only you came to the earth you created, all for our sake became human. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. From heaven come our marching songs to see my sin upon that cross, and I'll never know our marching songs to see